Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Putt.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here today. Things are just moving along in the world, aren't they? Things are moving along. Hopefully, it's crazy out there. Crazy. Anyway, let's just take a look and see what we're dealing with today. Today is the 22nd of October, 2016. That's according to the Gregorian calendar. Our sun sign has been in Virgo, however, that is changing, and within the next hour and a half, it's going to be moving into the next sun sign, and that next sun sign coming up is Libra. Okay, so it's going from Virgo to Libra. Libra, what we have here is the scales of justice, karmic balance. Okay, karma is coming this way. We're coming out of an earth sign where we're dealing with the physical reality. Now we're going to go into the karma, the balancing act that takes place from the words and the actions that we speak. And so this next period of time, this next month, is going to be a pretty intense month because I think we're going to see a lot of things coming to a head, a lot of activities which are going to balance themselves out. So we may be seeing some craziness in the world right now. I think it's all going to balance itself out because that's usually the way it works out with events of this nature. When things get out of balance one way, life has a way of bringing them back in harmony and back in balance. So we have an air sign coming up. Air, words and actions. Okay, we're going to have to be responsible with the things we say, the things we do. Not only making sure that we say the things and do the things that help us, but how to avoid doing the things that hurt us. And we see lots of examples in the world right now where we're doing things to hurt ourselves. We need to change that. The moon sign at the moment, where it will be for the rest of today and into tomorrow, is Gemini. Gemini is represented by the lovers. We have all about choices and the responsibilities that come from those choices. Okay, we all have an opportunity each and every day to make a choice, to communicate with our lower self, with our higher self, to make the choices that are based on the highest ideals possible. When we're not accessing those higher ideals, then we live in a world of chaos, and we see a lot of chaos going on right now because we are not accessing the higher aspects of ourselves. We're caught down in this very primal nature, and there is so much fighting going on right now because of this. We're not in a good place. We need to find the balance, and I'm going to guess that that balance is going to come and smack us right upside the head for all of this nonsense that we're engaged in. Now, some of the aspects we're looking at here coming up. Well, first of all, we've had this communication going on between the present moon sign Gemini and Mercury, been at odds with each other. How do we communicate these choices? How do we express ourselves with these choices? This is the lesson we're learning. Coming up at 9:21 a.m., we're making the switch from the sun sign now fully into the next sun sign, which is Libra, as I spoke about. We have coming up this afternoon part of ourselves that needs to be healed. 2:48 p.m. Chiron is going to be in a square with Gemini. 4:11 p.m. Unexpected changes are going to jump into the mix with Gemini on the communications that go on. And then finally, Mars tonight has an opportunity to energize the situation. Let's see what kind of lessons we learn, because Mars can bring a lot of war and hostility and anger which is already out there, we see. So we need to see how this is going to result, play itself out. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with now. We also have Mercury, which has gone direct. It's been retrograde. Mercury's now back direct. So our communication should start moving forward in a smooth manner. Let's see, let's hope and pray that things do. The moon phase is making its way from the full moon, which we had on the 16th. It's going to be making its way back down to the new moon, which will be at on the 30th of the month. Right now, it's 59.0% of the way there. Waning means it's going down, back down to the new moon. On the Jewish calendar, today is 19 Elul. We have a little more than a week, probably about 10 days until we get to the new month. This is the ending of the year on the Jewish calendar. Getting ready to move into the new year. The daily thought for today is, why is there wonder? This wonder, this awe that you experience in a time of quiet contemplation, it is not unique to the human being alone. Every creature of the universe experiences wonder, a sense that there is something greater, something beyond its grasp from which it derives life. And with that sense of wonder, each thing receives life. Without that wonder, there is no life, for that wonder is the very foundation of all that is. Why was the universe created this way? Because without wonder, the Creator would be forever an alien to his creation. But when there is wonder, once our work is done, the creation itself will say, I recognize this. This is the sense of wonder within me. All right, it's a nice thought for today. And finally, looking over at the solar wind space weather, 448.9 kilometers per second. Planetary K index, quiet at the moment, expected to get up there within the next 24 to 48 hours. Couple of coronal holes in the sun, no notification of any wind that's going to be blowing our way from that. M-class flare possibility and X-class both at 1%. Mid-latitudes, a geomagnetic storm activity seems to be increasing, becoming active, 15 to 25%. Upper latitudes, also an increase as well. The severe range going from 20 to 35. So things are on the uptick. So we've got a lot of transitions taking place today. We've just come out of a Mercury retrograde. Mercury, the communicator, has been retrograde the last 3 weeks. Things sometimes can seem to be going backwards with Mercury because we revisit old issues, old things that need to be dealt with. Now we're coming out of that retrograde into a better form of communication. Things are bumpy during the first transition periods of time, but then ultimately they iron themselves out as people start to regain a little bit more of their sense of what they're doing. And now we're transitioning from one sun sign to the next. So our conscious mind is going to go from the hermit, the patience, and the timing. Now is time to act. Now is the time to speak the words and take the actions that are going to help us and avoid doing the things and saying the things that are going to hurt us. That's going to be our challenge because we've got a lot of mess to clean up, not only here in America, but throughout the world. There's been a lot of problems that have taken place. You know what they are. I know what they are. We need to clean them up and move forward. There you go. That's our cosmic weather today. UFO news is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Today I have 4 good stories. The first story takes us to the United Kingdom. Second UFO sighting gives credence to UFO claim. A bird watcher believes he may have seen the same UFO spotted in Montrose last week. Carol Cull reported the strangest thing she had ever seen flying towards Montrose Beach. The apparent UFO sighting occurred at around 10 a.m. on Friday morning. A self-confessed skeptic, Carol is aware that there may be an alternative explanation for the sighting, but remains baffled by what she saw. Now a separate spotter has added fuel to the fire, saying he too saw something in the sky he struggles to explain. The man asked not to be named. He says that he was looking at the skyline above the V&A Museum on Tuesday afternoon when he spotted something thin and oblong. He said, I do a bit of bird watching, so always carry a small pair of binoculars. I was looking towards the V&A and something caught my eye. I saw this very slow-moving object with white lights, which were rotating around it. It looked as if it were flying from Fife towards Dundee. The spotter does not believe the object was either a plane or a drone, saying it was flying too high to be either. Had no distinguishing wings, he said. It was a small, thin, oblong shape, definitely above the clouds. A jet flew past at the same time, and it was lower down and left a vapor trail, but this didn't. It was a decent size. A drone, I don't think, could go above the cloud base, so I don't believe it was that. It disappeared, and I stood for 20 minutes trying to catch sight of it again, but I didn't see it anymore. Here we have an armada of alien ships that passes our sun. This was on the 17th. Okay, if we just look right here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then the big object there. So potentially 13, 14 different objects captured by Street Cap 1. This is quite a complicated looking piece with possibly 2 or more items meeting in space. As we say there, you couldn't make it up, and guess what? I don't. P.S. Notice the circle above the main craft has a small center. Small craft at the center, standard alien greetings approach, formation with the boss at the center. How do I know this? I just do. Okay, so there's what was captured by Street Cap 1. See some different filters in there just to see if it disappears when you add a filter, but it doesn't. It seems to stay. All right, moving on from here. Next, we're going to look at this jellyfish object that was caught over the Caribbean. NASA got a hold of this one here. Pretty bizarre looking indeed. Here we have a filter showing you it is something that is there. It's plain to see there is a giant jellyfish UFO hiding inside this cloud and soaking in the power of the electricity, causing lightning around it. Some ships deliberately create these storms so they can feed off them, regardless of the damage they may cause the public. NASA is trying to call these sprites, but it's a new field especially created to deliberately misinform the public about these UFOs so they can keep them secret. NASA was created not to find alien life, but to appease the public's curiosity, giving them crumbs of information. All right, the eyewitness says this is a copy and paste over from a NASA website, spaceweather.com. A-bomb, a sprite over the Caribbean, September 18th. Frankie Lucia of Cabo Rojo, Puerto Rico, photographed an enormous sprite over the Caribbean Sea. For a split second, the sky was illuminated by a mushroom-shaped flash. Oscar van der Velde, a member of the Lightning Research Group at the Universitat Polencia de Catalunya, explains that Lucia photographed the type of sprite is often called a jellyfish or A-bomb and ranks as the largest type of sprite in both horizontal and vertical dimensions. It consists of a bright halo approximately 85 kilometers above Earth's surface, surrounding sprite elements with long tendrils reaching down as low as 30 kilometers above the ground. This kind of sprite tends to be triggered by very impulsive, positive cloud-to-ground flash. The curious thing is, Lucinda did not observe an instigating lightning bolt. Instead, it was just a sprite that appeared. He recorded the bright flash of light. It was a cosmic ray hitting the cosmic ray hitting the camera? Wonders Lucinia play the entire video to see the flash. Another possibility, the point-like flash could have cloud-to-ground strike mostly Eclipse by intervening clouds. If Lucinia did photograph something new triggering a sprite, perhaps it Shouldn't come as a big surprise. The field is relatively new. Although sprites have been seen for at least a century, most scientists do not believe they exist until 1989 when they were photographed with cameras on board the space shuttle. Okay, so is this a sprite? Is this a UFO? Links available so you can check it out, see what you think. And finally, above New York, they spotted a craft that claims to look like the Millennium Falcon, from Star Wars. Millennium Falcon look-alike UFO spotted in the skies above New York. A mysterious flying object was spotted in the sky over New York, and witnesses said it was definitely a UFO. A man and his girlfriend were filming the sky when they allegedly captured a bizarre UFO on camera. The clip shows an alleged craft that has similarities to the Millennium Falcon of the Star Wars franchise. Based on the description of the footage, the couple was coming home between 9 to 10 in the evening when they noticed a light to their left. They described the thing as complete, lit up surface, not blinking, and the entire surface was lit up and glowing. They explained the video was reportedly recorded August 4th, but was recently shared on the MUFON site. The man, assumed to be one who took the footage, can also be heard in the video asking his girlfriend of what the object they just saw. The girl, known only by the name Annette, replied she wasn't quite sure, but confident that no planes flew that low. All right, so there you go. Millennium Falcon above New York. And that is our UFO news for today. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, what they're losing from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brothers watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
All right, let's continue on. Much to get to today. Okay, so the biggest news that is going on out there right at the moment has to be these riots which are taking place. Really kind of despicable, if you ask me. Despicable that there are people that are behaving this way. Now, where is this all stemming from? This is stemming from what we are being told is a problem with police brutality. Is there a problem with police brutality in this country? Yes, there is. Is this something new? No, it isn't. This has been going on for a long while. Now, people of all colors and races have been brutalized by the police. Okay, there's been no special treatment to any one particular group. I know that if you were to listen to different people talk, they're going to tell you all sorts of different statistics. But the fact of the matter is, the police go after bad people. Okay, they're not out after the good people. They're out after bad people. And sometimes you have more bad people as part of one group than another group. It doesn't always stay that way, it changes. Sometimes there's more bad people amongst the whites, sometimes more against the browns, and sometimes more with the blacks, sometimes more with the yellows. Everybody has an opportunity to be the bad guys. But the other thing about that is not everybody part of those color groups are bad people. It's always a small minority of each one of these groups that are actually out there causing the problems. Even with the police, not all police are bad. There are some who are overzealous, some who are, involved with situations where they are thought to be brutalizing somebody, maybe, intentionally, maybe not. Whatever the case is, this is an issue that is shared by all humans here in America, and certainly in other parts of the world as well. But we have a problem right now because we have a group of individuals who want to own this all to themselves as if they are the only group that is brutalized. Well, let me tell you, if you're black and you think that you're the only group that's brutalized, then you really aren't paying attention to the statistics out there. Or you're picking and choosing the statistics you want to listen to. More white people are killed by cops than black people. Did you know that? That's a statistic. That's a real statistic. But you're going to get the information said, yes, but blacks are more likely to be targeted because there's less of them. Well, okay, yeah, there's less of them, but the less amount seems to be causing more of the problems. That's why they're being targeted. Nobody's targeting them because they're black. They're targeting them because they're being bad. Now, why are they being bad? Well, it stems from the upbringing. You've got large sections of society where the upbringing of people is really low. The educational standards are low. The economy and opportunities are very low for those individuals. The family has broken down in those areas. And because of that, what comes out of those areas, it breeds crime. It doesn't matter if the race is black or white or red or yellow or brown. Anyone put underneath those conditions is going to have the same scenario. If we were to look at this scenario and understand that there is a problem that all people are dealing with, we could deal with it. But when you have a group that wants to label them as the only ones who are dealing with this, then we've got a problem. Now, what we have is a situation where we have blacks who are bonding with other blacks because of the skin color that they share without understanding the character of the other person. We have a group of people out there, the black community, and it's hard to say the black community because not all blacks are behaving like animals. The ones who are behaving like animals, guess what? They're thugs to begin with. They're not going to behave like good people to begin with because their very nature of who and what they're about inside of them is wanting to go out and cause problems. Okay? But they represent a small minority within that group. Unfortunately, they're out there causing a big stink. And unfortunately, there's members in all walks of life where you have these individuals. So what we need to do is we need to take a real good hard look at what the problems are in this country with all these racial tensions. You would think that the first African American president, things might be different. But there is more of a racial divide than before when this man got in office. Black Lives Matter has come to light during the course of this administration. Black Lives Matter is nothing more than a racist group, a group that wants to paint themselves out as being the special snowflakes, that only their lives matter, and if you dare suggest anybody else's life matter, oh, how dare you do that? Well, everyone's life does matter, and the ironic thing is, Black Lives Matter is a agenda-driven organization funded by a white man, an old white man. So all of you who are in Black Lives Matter, you're being nothing more than a slave to the white man. Good job. Way to enslave yourselves yet again. And I say yet again because over the years, We've sat back and we've watched you vote for the slave masters who continue to enslave you. You continue to vote for the liberals and the Democrats. Your cities are broken down because you continue to vote for these slave masters who do nothing for you, and then you wonder why things don't get better. You know, we're cheering for you. And people of other races out there, we're cheering for you, and you're hoping that you're going to get this. We keep wondering, why do you keep going and voting for the slave master? Why do you keep going and doing that? But you keep doing it. One day, we're hoping that you're going to wake up and realize that you're being played. That you're being played. And if you wake up and you realize that, there might be a different attitude in this country. And you might find that there's actually more people that have in common with you the same issues that you're dealing with, and that we could all deal with these issues. Because these issues aren't issues for blacks or whites or reds or yellows or brown. These are issues all of us as Americans are dealing with. Now, one of the big problems we have here in America is this idea of slavery and the real misunderstanding of it. Slavery has existed for a long time. It goes all the way back to the first time humanity was on Earth. All the way back. Whites have enslaved whites. Blacks have enslaved blacks. Browns have enslaved browns. Yellows have enslaved yellows. Everybody enslaved their own people until they were able to reach out to other communities, and then they started enslaving people in other communities. But for a long, long while, if you look through the history of slavery, slavery has been colorblind. It had nothing to do with color. It had to do with one human being trying to subjugate another human being. But then as we've gone throughout time, we've thought, well, let's break it up even more, because if we really pin one individual against the other based on skin color, we could really play this game good, and that's what's going on. People are being played. People are being played because of something as silly as skin color. You know what? Reincarnation's a real thing. So people who are black in this lifetime, most likely you weren't black in another lifetime. Most likely you were white or brown or red or yellow. And the same goes with all the other races. So the lessons we're learning right now should be to look and see what the other person is dealing with, because we at one point were that other person and they were us, and vice versa. We should learn these lessons. We should understand the common problem that we have as a human race, that we've all tried to subjugate ourselves. Now, the big problem we keep seeing and hearing over and over again is here in America, blacks and slavery, blacks and slavery. You're not the first slaves. Get over yourselves. Okay? You ever hear of the Slavic people? The Slavic people were slaves so long that the word slavery comes from the word Slavic. That's how long they were slaves. We need to really understand that there's a problem that's much bigger than skin color. We need to understand that when we limit it to skin color, we're missing the point. We're missing the point of how we could resolve this problem, because we're thinking that it's only a skin-related system. In Africa, do you know to this day blacks are still enslaving blacks? Do you know that when blacks came to America the very first time as slaves, you know how they were captured? White men didn't have anything to do with that. It was black slave lords captured other black tribes and sold them for trinkets. And then a small portion of those ended up in America. Most of the other ones ended up in other countries. A small portion ended up here in America. And then when humanity in America saw that that was wrong, eventually they were freed. But it was the white Republican Party that freed those slaves. The Democratic Party wanted to keep slavery in place. That's where the Jim Crow laws come from. That's where the KKK came from. And now, here in 2016, it's where Black Lives Matter, a truly racist organization, has come from. We're turning a blind eye to something called black-on-black crime. We don't want to hear the statistics, but yet this is a real thing that exists. We look at the inner cities. Look in Chicago how many people are killed there. We turn our blind eye to black-on-black crime, Yet it was black on black crime in Africa that ended up in blacks being over here in America and other places of the world as slaves because black tribal leaders went and enslaved others. And guess what? They're still doing it to this day. They're still doing it this today. But how many times will we turn the TV on and we hear some African Americans talking about Africa? Well, go over to Africa and see what it's like over there. Quit spouting your nonsense. I'm so tired of hearing this. Tired of hearing all this racist talk that is out there. You ever see a box of crayons? A box of crayons has multiple colors in it. We need all of these colors to participate because we're all part of the human race. But this nonsense that is going on, it's just way too much out of control. Way out of control. And now when we see the shameful things that are taking place in North Carolina, the people who are doing these acts, they're thugs, pure and simple. These aren't good people protesting. They're thugs. When you shoot another person, it's because you're a thug. When the police officers are involved in a situation where it's police brutality, it's not the whole force, it's that particular individual that did something. That particular individual, and there's lots of those within, but we can weed those out, but we have to go through the right channels. We also need to take time to look and see and understand a little bit more about who these people are that are being held up on the Black Lives Matter pedestal. Because when we look back at their records, we find out that they're all thugs and they all have criminal histories. And so, what are we getting to the point now where if somebody's skin color is black, that we're not supposed to arrest them if they're criminals? We're supposed to allow them to go and behave like a thug, and that's okay? I mean, part of this, Tupac Shakur needs to take a big blame in all of this as well, with his music all about the thug life. Because look how many members of the inner cities have bought onto this lie. The thug life. Going out there, gonna get me some. The only thing you're doing right now is spreading hate. We need to stop this. And I know you might think, how could I, a white guy, be talking about this? Because it's an issue that I'm concerned about as a human being. And if you have a problem with me bringing it us and talking about this, that problem's with you, not with me. Because I'm going to talk about the issues that are issues concerning humanity. And right now, it's that we are having trouble getting along with each other because of our skin color. And how ridiculous is that? There was a man named Martin Luther King who said one day he hoped that we'd be able to be judged by the content of our character rather than the color of our skin. What about those words? People seem to have forgotten those. Now, I know I'm rambling. I may be all over the board on this, but this is an issue that's really hard to understand. And even more so when you see all of those who are in positions and on platforms where they could really do good, where they're justifying these actions. You flip on the TV, look at Whoopi Goldberg. Oh my gosh, that woman is such a racist. She's filled with so much hate against white people, and she talks like she's so oppressed that she doesn't get an opportunity, but she's on her own TV show making millions of dollars, and she's talking about being oppressed. There is a woman who's so out of touch with her own sense of reality that she's spewing this nonsense into the world. And she's not the only one. On and on and on, we see examples of this. It's just out of control, people. It's out of freaking control. Now, I'm going to show you this video link so you can check this out. Said, should we blame white people? Debunking white guilt. 5-minute, 54-second video. I'd like you to watch this. This is a bit of a history about slavery, a little bit about what I was talking about. We've all been enslaved, my friends. We've all been enslaved. Whites have been enslaved. Blacks have been enslaved. Asians have been enslaved. Hispanics have been enslaved. We've all been enslaved. We've enslaved each other in our own races. We've enslaved those of other races. Slave lords have been men. Slave lords have been women. Here in America, on the books, one of the first registered slaves was a black man owning another black man. And if you look throughout history, there's a lot of black men and a lot of black slave lords that had black slaves, just as there were white slave masters that had white slaves, and so on and so on. So, if we decide that we're going to look at this problem as a problem of one human being trying to subjugate another, we'll get to the heart of the problem. But if we're going to continue to look thinking that this has to do with only skin color, we're going to miss the point, and we're going to continue to be divided and then conquered by those who are trying to divide and conquer. And in the case of Black Lives Matter, it's really easy to see. You got a group out there going crazy and going nuts, creating violence, being instigated by an old white man who is paying their way. The hypocrisy of there is just incredible. And when you get people who are emotionally charged, filled with anger, low educated, this is what you're going to get. And it happens in all walks of life with all races of people. So don't anybody get all high and mighty thinking my race didn't. Your race is just as guilty as every other race. Blacks, whites, reds, yellows, browns, every race has been involved with some sort of problem. But now we have to find the solution. Okay, we need to come up to that balancing point now. Use our words and our actions to create a healing solution. One way is to know the truth. So here, watch this video. Not right now, but you watch this video. This will help you to see a little bit more, and then follow links so you can go and watch more things and learn more things. Okay, let's move on from here. The birther issue has come up. Again, I thought what Donald Trump did was brilliant. Said that Hillary started this, he's going to end it. Barack Obama was born in the USA, end of story. End of story. Now you hear people say, oh, Donald flipped. Donald didn't flip. Donald said what needed to be said at this point in time so he could move forward. What is the alternative now? They're going to argue with him that Obama actually was from Kenya? Well, I don't think they're going to argue that, but they seem like they want to be upset with him for something just because they want to be upset. Again, they need to get over themselves because the proof is out there. Donald's not the first one who brought this issue up. Here's an article over here at WND, World News Daily. Here is a press release going back to 1991. 1991. When we look at this press release, it says Barack Obama, the first African American president of the Harvard Law Review, was born in Kenya, raised in Indonesia and Hawaii. The son of an American anthropologist and a Kenyan finance minister, he attended Columbia University and worked as a financial journalist and editor for the Business International Corporation. Okay? They list him as being from Kenya. This is from 1991. His publicist put this out there. The article's available for you to read. So when people say Donald was the first birther, no, he wasn't. Barack Hussein Obama's own publicist in 1999 was talking about him being from Kenya. It wasn't a secret and a surprise to anybody until he started running for political office, and then they started covering it up. Another piece of news, very important. State of Texas officially withdraws from the refugee program. The state of Texas declared on Wednesday that they will have nothing to do with the refugee resettlement program of Obama's administration. Texas had demanded that any refugees resettled in the state receive extensive security checks to ensure that refugees are not terror threats. The federal government would not agree to the plan that Texas has proposed. As a result, the state has written to the Office of Refugee Resettlement to announce that they will withdraw from the program on January 31st, 2017. The federal government's refugee settlement program is riddled with serious problems that pose a threat to our nation, Governor Greg Abbott, a Republican, said in a statement. The director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the director of National Intelligence have repeatedly declared their inability to fully screen refugees from terrorist-based nations, even with the inability to properly vet refugees from Syria and countries known to be supporters or propagators of terrorism. President Barack Obama is now ineptly proposing a dramatic increase in the number of refugees to be settled in the U.S. All right, so Texas is taking this serious. Why is this important? Does the United States, are we a big, mean country that we don't want to have any immigrants here? Think about that for a minute. Of course we're not. We're a country that is made up of people that have migrated here from other parts of the world. But people have come here because of the ideals that they like about America. They've come here to make a better life for themselves. The problem we're having this day and age is the people that are coming from these countries, these Syrian countries where these refugees are coming from. The people coming from there are not coming from a culture like the United States of America. They are coming from a culture that is the opposite. A culture that does not respect women the way we do in America. A culture that kills homosexuals. A culture that believes an ideology of religion that if you don't believe that, then you should be killed or subjugated. They come to this country and they want to cause problems. Now, is everybody from that part of the world wanting to cause problems? No. It again goes back to a small percentage. But according to international estimates, that number is between 10 and 20%. So when you have 100,000 refugees coming from these terrorist countries, and 10% of them are potential extremists, well, 10% of 100,000 is 10,000. 10,000. 10,000 extremists. You think that there could be a problem if there were 10,000 extremists here in America? I think so. Do we want to avoid that? Most likely. But they're being brought in because the president of our country is one of these terrorists. I've been saying it for a long time. There's been others out there been saying this for a long time. Now people are suddenly surprised that, oh my gosh, he's Muslim. Really? Of course he's Muslim. He's also a jackass, and we've known that for a long time. But now look at all the problem that this jackass is creating. One after another after another. You would think that since he claims all of these gentlemen that are out there protesting could be his sons, you would think he might be able to get off his lazy ass and say something to calm the situation, being that he's the first African American president. But he can't be bothered because he wants this problem to continue. He's a problem maker, not a problem solver. The sooner he's out of office, the better. How is that going to be? How easy is that going to happen? Time will tell, because there's a lot of concern about what he wants to do. He's trying to cause as much problems on his way out as he can. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But he's not a man who's trustworthy at all. It's quite the opposite. He's a problem maker who has been selling out America. It's too bad Americans haven't seen that. Too bad it took so many people such a long time to catch on. But that's what's allowed him to stay in power. Stupidity. Stupid people have continued to allow him to be in, and then they wonder why he only makes life worse for them. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Julian Assange says 1,700 emails in Hillary Clinton's collection prove she sold weapons to ISIS. Again, no surprise there. No surprise for anybody who's really aware and has been paying attention. But again, more proof. More proof that she is not the person she claims to be. She's not for us, she is against us. That is the problem. Now, here we see judge orders release of Clinton security training docs to begin in 5 days. A frustrated federal judge ordered the State Department to begin producing within 5 days hundreds of documents on whether required or recommended security trainings, briefings, or courses were completed by former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and top aides. Judge Richard Leone ruled Tuesday in favor of the Daily Caller News Foundation by rejecting the State Department motion to dismiss the DCNS Freedoms Information Act lawsuit concerning production of the documents originally sought under the Freedom of Information Act, but also he denied the DCNS request to dispose to State Department officials. State Department is unable to produce any records confirming that Clinton and her top aides received mandatory annual security briefings about the proper handling of classified materials. Okay, blah, 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 blah. We know this. We know that Hillary has lied over and over and over again. It's just, look, none of this should be surprising to anybody. And if it surprises you, then where have you been? Where have you been that this is surprising you? And if you're finally waking up to this, then welcome to the party, pal. You should have caught on to this a long time ago. But at least people are catching on now. Now, one of the things that Hussein, is trying to do before he leaves office is give away our internet. This device that we're communicating on right now, he wants to give this away. He doesn't want to give away the portion that conservatives work on. He wants to give away all of it. So if you're a liberal out there, he wants to give away your part of the internet as well. You might say, oh, well, that's okay. No, it's not okay. It's not okay to do that. This is not something that he has the right to give away. But President Obama is a globalist, just like Hillary Clinton is a globalist. They believe in a global agenda, which means you weaken the United States so the entire world becomes more like a communist regime. Everything is all equal. You don't have one person standing up or one group sticking out, because according to the communist philosophy, that's racist if you think that you're better than others. It's not racist to think that you're better than others. It's what we do when we try to evolve and make ourselves better. We grow and we evolve. The United States has grown and evolved with people from all around the world, and we'd like to have more people coming to America to participate. But we want them to come to participate in what we're doing here and not try to change it. Because I think what we've done over the years has been pretty good. We're a leader and have been a world leader for quite some time because of the innovations, because of qualities that we bring to the world, because of the character we have to offer. America has a lot of wonderful things to offer and can be a great light in this world. But when it's dimmed down, when it's made to be less special than we're able to be, that's where the problem lies. So one of the things that we've got really going for us here is this internet. It's a great tool that we have to communicate. But Obama wants to get rid of this. He wants to turn it over to United Nations. Well, Trump opposes the plan for the U.S. to cede internet oversight. U.S. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump opposes a long-planned transition of oversight of the Internet's technical management from the U.S. government to a global community of stakeholders. His campaign said in a statement Wednesday, Congress should block this handover scheduled to occur October 1st, or internet freedom will be lost for good, since there be no way to make it great again once it is lost, Stephen Miller, National Policy Director for the Trump campaign, said in a statement. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, a former presidential primary foe of Trump's who had refused to endorse the real estate developer, has led a movement in Congress to block the transition, arguing it could cede control of the internet itself to the authoritarian regimes like Russia and China and threaten online freedoms. All right. I know there's going to be always those who are going to say, oh, this isn't true. But yeah, we don't want to give away to these other nations what we have worked so hard to develop, because these other nations aren't operating the way the United States of America is. Okay? They do things the way they do. We do things the way we do. There's a saying, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. And if Americans don't understand really quickly what's going on, we may be looking back and saying, wow, we didn't realize how good we had it with the things and the freedoms we had. We didn't understand how much the internet was really so helpful to us. And it's a shame we gave it away. It's a shame we gave away all of our freedoms. It's a shame we've allowed the America to become so diversified that we are no longer a nation that had all of the beautiful things we had. It's a shame that we've allowed the thug-like mentality to take over. See, we don't want to be on that side of the fence looking at all of these things and saying, oh, if only we had thought, if only we had behaved differently, if only we had made better choices. Well, those moments are right now, my friends, for us to make all those better choices. But we've got to make better choices. That's the only way around it. We have to make better choices. So, what we have to do now is we need to take a good hard look at what are the problems in our life. How do we balance out? How do we bring justice to the problems that we're facing? Real justice, not street justice like people going out and being violent and going in and looting stores and businesses that have nothing to do with your problem. Real justice in life. How do we balance out? First thing is we have to recognize that we're all here together. All of us. Humans. Doesn't matter what color you are. Get over yourself. You're a human being. You're here on Earth. Here we humans figure out how to get along with each other. We have to make better choices. We have to connect with our higher selves. And if we can do that, I think we have an opportunity. But right now we're being divided and conquered by those who are in power that want to divide and conquer us to defeat us. It's that simple. It's a tactic they've been using for a long time, and as long as people are blind to the tactic, then they're going to keep using it. It's in the same way that you have the rules for radicals. Saul Alinsky's rules are being used over and over and over by these communist regimes and agendas here in the United States. And as long as we turn a blind eye to them and keep following them without being aware of it, we're going to keep running into problems. We have to stop fighting with ourselves in every way, shape, and form. We just have to stop. A fight stops when both people stop, when both people put down their weapons. Okay? We have problems to solve. We've made mistakes, but at a certain point in time, we have to stop to fix the problem, and we have to forgive the mistakes of the past. Even if that past was 5 minutes ago, we have to learn to forgive so we can move forward. But if we continue to move forward and we have grudges and we're still have hate and anger and we're not wanting, then we're never going to resolve the problem. And then things become more drastic, and we don't need that. We're supposed to be smarter. We're supposed to be smart beings upon this planet. We've just gotten caught up in the matrix. We've listened to all of the BS that has taken us off track, and now it's time to change our ways. So today's a good day for changing ways, because today we're making the change from summer to fall. Today is the equinox. Today is the equinox. Prepare for the equinox, September 22nd, one of the best transformation thresholds of the year. Equinox arriving Thursday is occurring during a powerful window of time. Humanity has been doing a lot of status quo reviews, and most likely you've had your own on a very personal level. The Mercury retrograde, which ended yesterday, actually last night, has been an excellent time to reassess your life circumstances and decide what you'd want to keep or discard going forward. If you're not familiar with the planets and astrology, the cycles like Mercury retrograde can often be the catalyst for some big rethinking in one's life. With so much changing now and the constant influx of new factors to consider, it's not surprising that you would be in a rethinking phase, even without the retrograde. The two eclipses of September added an element of intensity to your self-introspection. The Pisces lunar eclipse during last week's full moon provided a huge opportunity for looking with more clarity at your life. Most likely, either consciously or in a dream state, you had new insights about what fuels your choices. As part of this, you may have awakened one day this past week with a brand new perspective about your emotional life and the connection to motivations. This is very helpful. Changing patterns and life directions is much easier once you understand your inner motivations for doing things. Emotions can play a key role. An important part of spiritual awakening is to become more attuned to your own emotional states, learning to understand how emotions fuel responses to life's events. Emotions are front and center in much of the global dialogue about the overhaul of society. There is a lot at stake, and people hold very diverse views. Daily, you are processing your own response to the world, accelerating uncertainty and chaos. If you are consciously aware of all that you possess in a single day, you would be stunned. For context, this indeed is a unique time for the world. So much needs to shift, and many things like climate and injustice are just a crisis point. Political dramas, notably in the U.S., are driven by emotional, fear-based themes. With this background, you can better understand why your own emotions may be closer to the surface now. After all, humanity across the world is interconnected. Further, some issues being debated on the world stage are almost as old as humanity itself. That means that your own past life DNA conditioning could be triggered now. Most likely, you were subject to tyranny and injustice countless times before. Therefore, in current moments, your aware consciousness can respond in unfamiliar ways. Due to belief systems you knowingly held on a subconscious level, you may be quite emotional and not know why. Examples: in a past life, you have died in a revolution you may have witnessed as your mother was unjustly sent to the gallows for suspected witchcraft. Volume on high. This is especially true during high energy thresholds like the equinox. Life may then feel like someone turned the volume on high, and your nervous energy may go on alert more than normal. You may witness more emotional outbursts from others. At work, at home, it can feel like the lid with the normal was removed. All equinoxes are energy gateways, in part because the sun aligns with the equator and temporarily reduces the Earth's magnetic field. This allows you to access potentially profound spiritual insight, connect with spiritual guidance, and have an expanded connection to other dimensions. In tandem with this, there's an amplified effect that such a gateway experiences in this dimension, feeling supersized. This particular equinox is a high energy threshold involving balance with new energies and new beginnings. It's an excellent time for inner work and meditation, helping you connect with spiritual openings and to release past baggage so you can advance. With the sun moving into Libra, signaling a change of seasons, the equinox is one of the best transformation thresholds so far this year. Think of this equinox gateway unfolding Thursday throughout the weekend as a new pivotal choice point, a moment when you can propel yourself into new adventures housed in a higher frequency with quantum manifestation potentials. Make the most of this by staying present, self-censoring negative thoughts, and making specific intentions on how you would like to see light expressed. Approach this in a quantum way that means seeing each moment and potential new moment as brand new and filled with radiance that matches that of your soul. Visualize yourself living as a soul starting now. Okay, so we can see here that we have opportunity before us. An equinox, it's a new opportunity, a new change. We're always going through cycles, so here's another cycle of opportunity before us. Let's use this wisely. Let's recognize we do have problems. You know that, right? We've got problems we need to deal with. There's been a lot of corruption for a long, long time. It's boiled to a head. People are angry. People of all different colors are angry. It's not just one group. Everybody's got some sort of axe to grind. But we also have the opportunity to move past this anger and to do something useful with it. Because anger for the sake of anger doesn't do anything but create more anger. We need to move past that. We need to understand that we are here to move past that. So let us use this equinox, this new season, as an opportunity of change in our lives for all of us here upon this earth. So let us do our meditation for today. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale. Take another deep breath, and exhale again. And another breath, and exhale. Now, as you continue to breathe in and out, I just want you to hear these words and contemplate these words from the pattern of the trestle board. These are truths about the self. All the power that ever was or will be is here now. I am a center of expression for the primal will to good, which eternally creates and sustains the universe. Through me, its unfailing wisdom takes form in thought and word. Filled with understanding of its perfect law, I am guided moment by moment along the path of liberation. From the exhaustless riches of its limitless substance, I draw all things needful, both spiritual and material. I recognize the manifestation of the undeviating justice in all the circumstances of my life. In all things great and small, I see the beauty of the divine expression. Living from that will, supported by its unfailing wisdom and understanding, mine is the victorious life. I look forward with confidence to the perfect realization of the eternal splendor of the limitless light. In thought, in word, and deed, I rest my life from day to day upon the sure foundation of eternal being. The kingdom of spirit is embodied in my flesh. Let these truths about the self resonate within. And just feel yourself with a deeper understanding of their meaning. Continue to breathe in and out, and just feel the love that pours into you with each breath. The love within these molecules that you take into your body. And as you exhale out, imagine these going out and being recycled by the universe that takes and changes them back into molecules of love. So let's just imagine ourselves now looking at the world, seeing the world as it is with all of the chaos that is taking place. And let us imagine to ourselves that we can make a difference in this world by simply sending out positive energy, by sending out love. So let's just imagine from the center of your being, right in your heart space, this energy expanding outward of love. Imagine it as the color of the chakra green, and just imagine it expanding slowly outward. And as it expands out, feel it a foot outside of your body, 2 feet, 3 feet, expanding out into the room where you are, out into the city where you're located, even more out into the state, across the country, across the sea, to all of the other countries. And just imagine everybody across the entire planet sending out these same vibrations of love. And let's just imagine these love vibrations going out, affecting each and every individual upon the planet this day. Let's imagine that this love goes and changes the anger into one of creativity. Let's imagine changing the sorrow into one of joy. And imagine the doubts changed into fear. The doubts and fears changed into love. And as we experience all of these changes, all of these negative emotions and feelings changed into feelings of positivity, we see the world evolving to its true potential. We find that the doubts and the fears dissipate, along with the pain and the sorrow and the warlike attitudes. So let's just imagine all of the people on the earth shining bright, filled with love, filled with the blessings of life, understanding our connection and oneness with all that is. Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, thank you for the blessings of this day. We know as humankind we go through many challenges, and we thank you for the opportunity to overcome these challenges. We pray that we are able to reach inside ourselves to call forth that divinity that you have placed in each and every one of us, that we may shine bright and truly represent you upon this earth as you've intended us to do so. So let's let the subconscious mind continue on the journey, sending out love and positivity to everyone we see, everyone we meet, everyone we think about this day. Let us just imagine ourselves sending love and positivity into any situation we are aware of where there are challenges, where there is pain, where there is anger. And let's imagine ourselves being able to, with our thoughts, calm the situation down and bring peace and hopefulness. So let the subconscious mind continue on that journey, and let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. All right, my friends, that is it for today. Thank you so much for being here. I know I rambled a lot through the show. A lot of intense energy out there. And like you, I am just figuring out and just working on how to deal with it the best way. And all I know is to express what's going on so we can move past these issues. If you've got an issue with what I've said, well, then that's an issue you're going to have to deal with. I said what I said, and I'm hoping that we can all move forward in our lives to understand that this is a big issue that is going on, an issue that we can all fix. But we have to desire to fix it first, and we have to stop placing blame. We're all in this together, my friends, and if we don't stop fighting with each other, then we're going to all sink together. I know that we can rise to the occasion. We just need to do that now. You guys have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Till then, I love you. Keep loving each other. Peace. I'm out of here.